Legendary teams, major players, and electrifying tactical action are back in CSGO Regional Major Rankings 2021. From June 27th till July 4th, 10 teams will clash in the thrilling showdown for the prize pool of $100,000 and slots at the PGL Major Stockholm 2021. Who will win more rounds? Who will show the most furious play? And who will claim the major prize? Find out at the CSGO Regional Major Rankings 2021. And don't forget to reload.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's day 2 here at the StarLadder CIS RMR. It's the regional major ranking for this region, and we're looking for the best teams. We're looking to see who's going to make it through to the major. And to do that with me today is going to be Hawker. How are you feeling coming into day 2? We had a very long day yesterday across both streams, but now we've got some more action to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, Dinko. I think, you know, opening day, just get a feel for where the teams are at, see who's playing well, see who's maybe underperforming slightly. I think generally most of the results went about as expected, but there was obviously the one big upset in there at the end of the day. So I'm excited. I think there's definitely potential for more upsets, and I just want to see which teams are going to be going through, because you got to be going for those top 5 spots.
And speaking of the top 5 spots, I guess we can take a look at the RMR standings. We can take a look at the points and how things are all shaping up. And look who's at the top. It's Team Spirit. And yesterday I had a very long game against Entropic, so looking forward to seeing if Spirit can keep that up today. We have them a little bit later on. But Navi in 2nd place, Gambit in 3rd, and Vertigo, a little bit of a shaky start to the tournament yesterday in 4th place, and Akuma also with a shaky start into the tournament. So in behind them are the most likely teams to take over those spots, are Entropic and Force. So Virtus Pro not feeling as comfortable as they should, and Akuma's spot is completely up for grabs now, Hawk. It's getting real exciting because Entropic and Force are looking fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And that's definitely going to be important coming into this tournament, especially with some of the performances we saw yesterday from Gambit, for example, who did get a win, but it was a close win. And you never know, if they take 1 or 2 bad losses or take 1 or 2 unexpected losses, all of a sudden they have to play against Navi, and maybe they're in a spot where they actually could miss out on the top 5. So you've got to really stay 100% focused for every match here. You can't afford to take any of these games off, especially because if you don't hit that top 5, it's very likely, actually, that one of these teams will overtake you, because they can get a lot of points from this event.
Yeah, like you just mentioned, Hawk, you get a lot of points for this event in particular because the events that get closer and closer to the major are worth more points, and more points are on the line because it's all about the relevancy. How good are the teams now, not how good they were a couple of months ago. Obviously, you take that into consideration with their prior performances, but it's all about how they're playing right now, and that's where we put the most stock. That's what we care about the most. And right now, Virtus Pro looking a little shaky, and you don't want to leave it down to the games against the big teams, like you said. But I'm looking forward to seeing how things continue. We're only in day 2 here, plenty of action across 2 simultaneous streams. We're here on the 2nd stream right now. We're going to take a look at how things shaped up yesterday, both on the main stream and the secondary stream. Force topped their group with a win coming into the tournament. They looked pretty good yesterday, Hawker, right?
Yeah, I think so. On their map pick, they were really dominating. Inferno came much closer, but I'm happy with what we saw from Force. I think they're going to be a team in the running for those top couple of spots to try and make it through to playoffs. And then Gambit had such a tight series against Nemiga. At least the first 2 maps were very tight. The third one, not so much, but still a win for Gambit. And at this point of the tournament, that really is what it's all about. Just making sure you get the wins by whatever circumstances necessary.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Nemiga, they did get the map with no points, though. Over in Group B, it's Team Spirit that top the charts here with a win over Entropic. A very long series versus them. I went over 60 rounds on Nuke in that series, so definitely not an easy win for Team Spirit. Actually seen some of those players hopping on some FPL after and were streaming, so pretty nuts. I don't know what they're made of. But 100 Pin Gods coming in with a huge upset win yesterday against Virtus Pro. You had just mentioned that, Hawker, and I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get some more upsets. We've got some teams coming in today. Another Kazakh team looking to close out the day against Team Spirit, but we start here on the secondary stream with Gambit Esports versus Akuma, the best team in the world versus a team that has come on to shots, has maybe got more pressure on them now from the community outside to perform coming into this tournament. And yesterday, they didn't quite perform quite to the level they were back in the previous RMR. So expecting them to be able to take on the best team in the world, Hawka, it's not looking too likely.
No, I think this is a tough matchup for them, let's be real. And with how they played against Force, especially in that first map, there's actually a world here really where they don't even win a game in their group if they're not careful. They've really got to up their game, I think. We saw some signs of what Akuma can do. We saw Sensei having a pretty good map over on Inferno, but not good enough to carry them to the victory. And up against Gambit, this is going to be an even more difficult matchup.
It definitely will. We're going to hop into the rosters and get to know these players. And Gambit, I think everybody in the world now is familiar with them. A while ago, they wouldn't be, but now they are definitely looking good. Top of the world, but Akuma are their opponents coming into this one. We got to know these players around the last RMR, and now we get to see them again here back for StarLadder. Sensei, for me, is 100% the player to take a look at here, Hawk. To me, he's the best on the team by far. We seen him yesterday having a lot of success against Force, that AWP. Psycho was supporting a bit of it. But for me, that's the player that stands out, is Sensei.
Yeah, it's got to be Sensei. It's got to be the Sensei show if you're looking for an Akuma win here today. As for Gambit, well, they have a much more well-rounded roster. So far in this specific event, Axile has been their best player in terms of rating, but in the last 3 months, both Hobbit and Shiro have been above him. Shiro plays this crazy passive AWPing style, which I thought would never work, but he makes it work somehow. I feel like these players almost break the game at times with the things they're able to get away with, but you're going to get to see a lot of skill on the server. Axile is an aggressive rifler. It's very exciting, and you look at this head-to-head, this is what is somewhat scary, because even when Akuma were playing at that Epic League RMR and they were in good form, they still got 2-0'd by Gambit.
Yeah, convincingly as well. The map here on Mirage back in May isn't too bad. A 25-23 game. Well, I don't know if we'll be expecting that level of performance coming out today, but the head-to-heads, for the most part, there's just one anomaly, really. It's quite the anomaly as well, Hawk. You go from 16-8, 16-5, 16-4 to 25-23. You don't see that often.
Yeah, that's at least maybe something to clutch at if you are an Akuma fan at home. But you've got to be just thinking back to that game and hoping that happens again. But really looking forwards, it's absolutely just a big long shot, especially because we saw Akuma playing yesterday, not really to their best against Force. I think that first map was especially weak. And something that Gambit always have is an insanely strong and insanely deep map pool. And I don't think Akuma have any clear choices as to where they can get a good map here.
Well, let's hop into the map video and really take a closer look at how things are going to be shaping out. Hawka, you take us through this.
Yeah, so we should go ahead and get the permabans. Akuma have always been banning the Ancient. I would love for them to maybe float that at some points against teams that aren't comfortable on it, but Gambit have been liking a lot of Ancient. So I'd expect Akuma to get Ancient out of there. And okay, we're going straight into the... There we go. Wow. Okay, so Akuma have banned the overpass. That's something that I'm glad to see, actually. They're floating that Ancient. They're willing to see if maybe they can go ahead and float that in there, because it is a map that's just so new that I think a lot of teams will be scared to pick it against you. So I like that from Akuma. I think that's an important switch up. Here comes the pick from Gambit. They oftentimes switch up their pick, but I think Vertigo is probably the map they pick most often. It's pretty close for them, but it's just such a good map. You can see 92% win rate for Gambit on this one. Akuma have only played it a couple of times, and they do actually have some decent wins on it recently. They have a win against Double Pony, for example, so it's not a completely awful map for them, but it's still not going to be too good. Then we go ahead and see the Inferno pick. This is normally the go-to for Akuma. I think, unfortunately, they can't really find a weak map for Gambit, so they've just had to go ahead and pick whatever they're strongest on, which is a tough position to be in this best of three, but we did see them play it very close against Fours yesterday, so hopefully something similar can come through. And then, as a decider, I think it's wide open. It looks like Akuma do now want to get rid of that Ancient, so we either get Mirage or Dust 2. And honestly, I think Gambit will be pretty fine with either of those. I think it's basically just whatever they are more comfortable on, they can go ahead and take as that decider. I would maybe like to see the Mirage, maybe a bit more. I think they're a really solid Mirage team, and their recent results on Mirage have just been so good. I think they haven't lost it the last 8 times they've played it, but they actually ban that Mirage at the end there and go ahead and go for the Dust 2. I'm not sure we're going to get there, though, Dinko, in all honesty.
No, 92 and 80% win rate on the first 2 maps for Gambit against the best teams in the world in the top competitions in the world. So yeah, it's looking quite good for Gambit in the first 2 maps. They're leaving Dust 2 there as the third. For me, Dust 2 was the only map that I really felt maybe Akuma will be able to do something on, just because it's Dust 2. It can be this sort of map that, especially in the CIS region, where it can go any way. It can be a little more tough to call. So I think that's probably where I would have given the best chance for Akuma. But over on Inferno, they're feeling comfortable. It's a decent map for them. We did see Sensei get a lot of easy kills yesterday, and I don't think the utility usage is going to allow for that. I really do struggle to see a comfortable world for Akuma. I think they're just going to have to deal with superior utility usage than what fours are throwing at them. The crazy thing about Gambit is they can play all of the playstyles the other teams bring. They can be aggressive at times if they want to. They can be that quick, explosive roster. The utility's on point all of the time. They have this tactical depth as well. I just feel like Gambit have too many positives right now to really see Akuma having an opportunity. They don't even come close to outmatching them or even come close to equaling them in a lot of the important departments when it comes to the playstyle.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I do think Inferno will be somewhat interesting just because Gambit go for actually quite a few dry peaks at times in towards top mid. I think they're normally pretty good at doing that when they know their opponents don't have the AWP though. And so maybe there's going to be some chances for Sensei if he can catch them off guard when he's got that AWP. But all in all, you have to say Gambit are just overwhelming favorites here. Even if they weren't playing at their best against Nemiga with a couple of close maps in the mix, they are still just so solid. And even when they maybe underperform slightly, they're still getting the win against Nemiga. They're still normally getting the wins against the best teams in the world. We have to expect that to come through here.
And I don't want to just talk about the map that they lost yesterday to Nemiga, because Nemiga are not a bad team by any means. They're one of the best teams that come out of the closed qualifier. They're a solid CIS roster with a lot of talent in the team. I think Akuma are just a completely different roster in that respect. They're, for the most part, just really new, fresh talents that haven't really done a whole lot. Gambit being in this online world, they won't be caught off by any of this. That's the cool thing about Gambit, right? They've come through this tyranny of online, right? It's just awful playing online. All these competitions, only getting to go to one LAN. I think it was back in 2017, 2018. Went to New York and played some LAN. Nobody watched. Gambit barely had any opportunities, and they had to play all of these online tournaments. They've been born in the fire, raised in the fire, and now they're getting all the rewards, especially in this online era, just taking everybody out. So I think Gambit are just going to be used to playing some of these underdogs. We do see them drop series every now and then in these online tournaments, the likes of Copenhagen Flames and these teams in these tournaments, but it's to be expected when you are playing every single week at the highest level. It's easy to see why a team might drop off, maybe drop the ball slightly. But that's a little reminder of the Vita that's coming up. Vertigo and Inferno coming up. Gambit on Vertigo. This could be a quick one, Hawk, I will say. We've seen Gambit play this map.
Yeah, they're so good at this. I mean, you want to watch out for Nafany for sure, just towards that A-ramp position, because he loves pushing there, and he gets away with it so often on this team. I think he's definitely a fun player to watch out for on this map. So a lot to like, I think, about Gambit on the Vertigo. You do also get the chance on Vertigo nowadays to play between those bomb sites a lot more. You know, it used to feel like it was always just about those A plays, but now that CTs are starting to get better at retaking that A site and at saving their nades to deny those plants, you do have to play across the map more and maybe try and almost play, I think, in a Gambit style to some extent, where you see on Inferno, they love to play between the sites. They love to just not make noise and make their opponents uncomfortable. You can definitely do that on Vertigo too now. I think that's maybe the best way to play the map now. So I think it's just a map that suits Gambit a lot. You know, it suits their aggressive players and it suits their ability to just completely slow the round down and just play across the map and make you terrified because you don't know what's coming.
When we talk about Gambit, there's two words that come to mind. Overpowered and versatile, right? They're just so good at everything they do. They have ability to slow down, go aggressive, like you were just saying. And against a team like Akuma, who will have to just try and figure out a game plan on the fly, what Gambit are throwing at them, you can do all this preparation for Gambit, but the cool thing about them is they're not linear. They can just figure out a different response. So Akuma are going to have to do a lot of adapting inside of the game. And doing that against such a high-level team is very hard. You've got to hope that everybody is able to chime in, is getting a good read on the game, and it has to just work perfectly. This machine needs to work perfectly for Akuma to be able to do something against Gambit. Otherwise, they're going to be given new problems over and over and over again. So for that reason, I'm just seeing Vertigo being a very quick affair for Gambit. Inferno definitely where the series is going to get most interesting, but it's all about whether or not Akuma can live up to the hype again, because we asked ourselves yesterday, will this be the Akuma from Epic League? Will this be this team that came out of left field and was beating teams they shouldn't have any right in doing so? And yesterday we didn't get the answer we were hoping for. They're not that team right now. So hopefully when they come into today's performance against Gambit, this can maybe inspire some hope for people again. I mean, losing to Fours is not something they should shake a stick at, right? I mean, Fours are a very solid team and can often even compete with some of the best CIS rosters. So this is another challenge for them. Unfortunately for Akuma, it doesn't get any easier for them going into day 2, but if they can somehow put a better performance in here, maybe get some confidence going, who knows? They might be a deadly team to some other rosters within their group.
I think it's always scary when you have an up-and-coming team who comes up basically just relying a lot on their standout AWPer, which I think is what Akuma have been doing. Because you look at their ratings in the last 3 months, Sensei is by far and away their highest rated player at a 1.34 rating. Their next highest is DemQQ at 1.11. I like some of the stuff DemQQ does. I think he's a good aggressive rifler. But clearly Sensei is by far the focal point of this team. And once you get to these top teams in the world, once you get to the best opposition in the world, it's so much harder to get away with just dominating the game as an AWPer. And so even though Sensei was playing pretty well yesterday, he was having some impact. He wasn't having enough impact where he is just completely winning the game by himself. It's such a hard thing to replicate at the top level. And so I think for Akuma, it really is down to some of those riflers to show us that they can also be stars against some of the top teams in the world. And look, that is a hard thing to ask them to do, but we're going to have to ask them to do it here.
Well, we're going to find out if they're capable of pulling it off. We're going to hop right into the first series of the day here on the secondary stream. It's the StarLadder RMR CIS tournament, and we've got Akuma on the CT side going up against Gambit, the best team in the world, looking to get their major qualifier underway. And Jackie at the top of the stairs spots one out, gets info, as Gambit are going for a heavy B lane in the pistol round.
Akuma have players ready for a fast rotate too. They have 2 CTs in towards mid. That nade could have done more, but it doesn't do a massive amount of damage. And now with the play at the ready, Axar's going to be boosted up. He's going to try and run onto the stack.
Good headshot from Jackie, second in as well. Hasn't been traded out, and oh, he gets away with 3. Gambit just get destroyed in the pistol round. Akuma off to a flying start, and it's Jackie who's the pilot.
Someone we didn't really talk about, but Jackie had a couple of good moments yesterday. I think he was one of the players actually that held up best for me on this Akuma side compared to my expectations from him. And that's a bit more like the Akuma we were used to seeing over at Epic League. They got some good reads, they got themselves stacked on the right site, and they hit their shots early. So I think if they want a chance here, this is the way to do it. Maybe Gambit will be a bit slow out of the gate. You can get a couple of early rounds on the board. This one should be a gimme, considering Gambit just have 5 Glocks.
Yeah, I've seen more difficult rounds, that's for sure. For Gambit, I mean, in this round you want to try and get a bomb plant if possible. They're about to challenge the rifle. Jackie doesn't get a chance for some early kills, but he's been dinked up and damage done. The Glocks have overrun him, and now bomb plant can come in for Gambit. That's a nightmare. Now they've got a rifle as well, and another kill. There's no way you lose the Glock rounds. There's absolutely no way you can afford to do this.
Sensei needs that gun. He was keeping the USP because he thought this was going to be an easy round for them. Now they've got to be a bit careful. Shiro is going to be dealt with, and Hobbit tries to get the trade, but now the T's are stuck on the site, and I think it should be Akuma saving this one, but Inter still somehow gets a kill. Oh, wow, it comes somewhat close, but in the end, Sergis can run it down with the MP9 and make sure that Akuma save themselves any embarrassment from this one.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an early sign for Akuma of what is to come. But Glock's running at them. They lose 3 players, nearly 4, and they can see the bomb plant. I don't know what happened there to Jackie. I think at that point, You just got to be confident in yourself, right? You've just had a sick pistol round. Just stand there and take the fight to the M4. It's better than trying to turn back and get behind cover when it's too late. You just have to commit and get those kills. Just bring down the players.
There's just nowhere to fall back from in the position he's playing. If they're going to go for a fast play, you basically have to stand and fight. That's what you're saying. You know, if you want to play it safer, you're probably going to have to play back from those gens, and then maybe you can fall back or at least survive there. But yeah, in the spot he was playing, he was basically committed to the fight, and Jackie's about to be under pressure again.
Corner spotted, and he peeks out and gets a double kill. That's much better from Jackie. Great start to the round for both sides. They've equalized in terms of kills, 2 apiece for both rosters. Nafany coming in towards that mid play. I remember before we really got to know Nafany, everybody used to call him Nafany. I think some people still do, but I'm on the Nafany hype train now. Kill up to construction, good headshot. It was a peek out from down QQ. Revealed Nafany's kill, and he gets another one. The aggressive play from Sergey. He tried to get the timing, nearly did get the timing when the utility was being thrown, but didn't work for him. Now Psycho, the last remaining player, that bomb is leaving as well. It's going back over to the A site. Nafany has a good read of the situation. Looks to cut off the rotation if it is to come through CT to elevator. But it is Psycho who is dropping down, would be playing in towards the CT boost position. He has evaded Nafany for the time being. He's got a kit on his back, no utility though. So this round is definitely looking difficult for him, and I think Psycho's probably realizing it's done because Nafany's just come around the backside as Psycho was retreating into spawn. The timing not good enough, and that is going to be Gambit with their first round on the board.
Nafany just getting into a good position. Not on the A-ramp aggression we're used to seeing. He did get that first kill there, but then went back to mid, and this is where he got himself in a good position to just completely snuff out Akuma in that round. Definitely getting to see the play from Nafany that we were expecting towards the start here on Vertigo, and I would expect to see him going for those plays a lot. I think he's going to be really comfortable, really confident that he can just take fights constantly here as a very aggressive piece of this Gambit team. It's always nice when you have an in-game leader who's not calling for you to go in first either. He's happy to do it himself. He's happy to believe in his own calls. We get to see a payoff from that.
And that really is going to help in terms of getting respect from the team. Obviously what you're calling is working, but just leading by example gets them to believe in what you're saying. You believe in it. And so it's going to be Nafany again, playing on the edge of the smoke. Sensei is not ready for the walkout around the corner, but this boost could work. Sergey's is boosted up over the top of the box, spots ahead, and goes for the kill immediately, gets away with 2. That's fantastic.
Now, that's the nice thing about that boost. It can be a little more awkward to clear. It can be a little more unexpected than the standard one. And Sargis is still going. A 3rd kill on the A site hold. And Gambit have to tuck tail and try and go back to this B bomb site.
And Jackie's over holding with a decoy. Flash goes out. Wants to try and keep them at bay. They haven't crossed over, and Jackie now commits to the site. He's starting to get a few teammates over here as well. Inter's looking for the bomb plant. That does leave a window of opportunity for them to take a fight against Axel, who is down on his own. AK-47 goes down, and that's exactly what happens. Jackie runs forward, lightning fast headshot, and Sergey's comes in with a 4K. A beautiful round out of Sergey. Started on top of the boost and was closed out in the end. Gambit, they'll be kicking themselves about that one.
Wow. That is an upset of a round there. The boost from Akuma works out nicely to begin with. You see here, they're just not looking this way as they go up the ramp. It is one you sometimes forget about, that boost on the other side, especially because it's quite common to molly that position. But Gambit don't do that because they're focused on the ramp side where they think they can take the longer range fights, which should be favorable to them. So a really nice little trick from Akuma. One you're probably not going to get away with too often, but it comes through at a crucial time for them to win a round. And now Gambit are in a position where they're having to spend all their money on this one, and Akuma could have a chance of really getting off to a good start here. But Nafany's at it again, and he keeps on finding these timing windows.
Oh, he gets another chance, but QQ, I love the confidence to peek into the rifle of Nafany. He nearly goes down, but he does get the trade kill. And this boost up into middle from Hobbit. Spots the arm. Good peek out from Psycho. Not fully committing to it. Aware of that possibility, so gathers info. Does take damage, but better than losing his life and mid. They're going to reboost up. Closer angle now. You see more of the construction. Hobbit does the timing work out for him. He gets double peeked in from CT and construction. He was confirmed to die, and now they're playing to the B side.
Oh, nice kill from Jackie, but he's been traded out by Shiro. It's that man with the AWP. We know he can clutch, but he's got 3 against him. Another shot gifted into his possession, but Psycho's there to come through with the AK, and Inter's just now arriving to the party. A little late to help his teammate, but he's still got a chance. Popping the smoke down to try and get this bomb down safely. The molly won't do anything, but Inters has still got to maneuver around these boxes, not getting given any fights early.
Taking the sound cues. He's going to try and play with the cover of the site, but that smoke is going to allow them to move a little bit closer. Inter's just taking his time to hold the angle, confident he can turn it into the 1v1. It's just 1 HP between him and the round win, and it's not going to happen. Psycho hits the headshot, gets back onto the bomb, and Akuma, what a fantastic job they're doing of just forcing Gambit out of the A ramp and making them hold to go B, right? And they're just getting over here so quickly. The rotations are there in time, and I think right now Akuma are impressing me.
Yeah, we're seeing the positive signs from Gambit early on in these rounds, but Akuma are doing a really good job at adapting to some of those early kills, some of those early plays that Gambit are running. I think for Gambit, committing more players to A-ramp early could be a good idea, considering Nafany is finding so much success there. If he just had a couple of players pushing with him, perhaps they could even get away with more towards A, and then any refrags on towards Nafany wouldn't be as easy. Nade goes down. This time, no fights given to Nafany early. Sergis goes into the smoke, and it was a bit of a risky play. He took some damage, close range from the dig, but it works out for him, and he'll fall back with the man advantage.
Gambit are just waiting for that mistake. They're just waiting for the player of Akuma to peek around, give them that kill back. But right now, Akuma are not doing that. They do not want to make it easy for Gambit at all. Utility starts to come on up. There'll be a smoke out into the middle of the site. Down QQ is spamming through. Trying to connect with a walk-up. Gambit have somehow just walked up and taken the bomb site. A couple of smokes, bomb gets planted. Denied it all by Akuma. Now Gambit, they may have the bomb down, but they're still at a man deficit and only have pistols to play with. Akuma starting to use the final pieces of utility, and that could be a problem. Not enough utility really to limit the angles, but they're getting the kills now. And everything is falling apart for Gambit. They get 1 kill on the Tech 9 as a parting gift, but a bomb plant and a kill is all they will find as Akuma sweep up the retake.
Decent A-take from Gambit, but Akuma stay on top of it, making sure not to commit too heavily to the early site fights, especially when you know your opponents only have pistols. It's a good idea to fall back, especially once Sergis gets that early kill. He knows he can just sit back and stay in a safer position. You don't want to give away those rifles too easily. And Gambit have been pressured enough that they want to take a tactical timeout early into this game. They're 5-1 down. They don't want to let this one get out of hand. And I really do think they might just commit a couple more players into ramp early. Like I was saying earlier, Nafany's just finding so much success there. If they had a couple more players with him, I think they'd be in a much better position to win those early trades.
$5-1 down. Gambit back to the rifles. Nafany has been an essential part to their success in these early rounds. Let's see if the rest of the side can now start to step up. Just going to throw his own smoke out in towards ramps. Spam starts to come down into the smoke itself, and Sensei, good. peak, but there's no fallback there. You know, you have to be able to either walk away with 2 or be happy that you've just got 1 kill, especially when you've got no rifle support to maintain that position. And Nafny gets the kill, Axel as well. Working in tandem, Gambit have just given themselves a huge advantage here. And Sergey's is going to have to try and pull that back. And a fight against Nafny is not an easy scenario. And Sergey's is going to have to walk down the ramp if he wants that control back or the kill. So right now for Gambit, feeling very comfortable. They can slow that time down. They can wait for another mistake and regroup to close out the round.
Sergey, oh, he didn't have much ammo left, so once he starts missing shots, he's in trouble. Nafny wins that fight against him, which should lock the round in. And instead of committing loads of players to that A ramp fight, Gambit just decided to stick with Nafny, pressuring that position, not fully going for the aggression, but instead grouping up with plenty of players towards mid. Psycho's a dead man here, but I like the way that Gambit played that group up towards mid, and I think it's also important to point out, yesterday, Sensei was getting away with a lot of fights where he was somewhat committed to angles, and he'd get away with multiple kills. He was able to go in and out of the angles and find multi-frags. But here against Gambit, they're just so quick on the trade. He's traded out in a 1-for-1. And that's why it's going to be hard for his AWP play to hold up against Gambit, because there isn't much room for error. As soon as you take a shot, they're going to be trying to trade you.
I love how Nafny just throws that bottom ramp smoke every round. You'll see a lot of players do this on Vertigo on towards that A ramp, because once the CTs throw a smoke of their own, you throw that smoke slightly deeper, they still have to worry about tarp. Unless they have aggression into short, they're just going to have to assume that there's a player there. Looks like the mid play is starting to make cute using the sandbags, but peeks up and the headshot is so quick from Inters. Gambit have mid control. That does put a lot of pressure now onto Akuma. It weakens their defense. There's a big hole in the middle of it, and Psycho gonna try and make sure he plugs the gap into B site, and he's not able to do it. Nafny and Hobbit have taken kills very quickly indeed. And Jackie, who had committed deep into the B site, they even find him. Axel just waiting on the stairs for his time to strike. And Sergey's probably best he just run away from that. Save that M4A4. This is going to be Gambit back for another round. And this is much more like it. This is them just sort of getting comfortable into Vertigo, just a deep breath after the first couple, and they're now in the game.
Back in the game. 5-3 scoreline, but Akuma's money is the most important thing here. I think if Gambit can keep this pressure up, then they can come through with a win streak and start to show us what they can do on this map. Shiro's not had to do too much so far. You see he's got 3 kills, but only 15 ADR, which I think encapsulates his playstyle quite nicely. Oftentimes, even if he gets kills, it's late in the round, maybe against lower health players. Works out well for him in general, though.
I wonder, with all the prize money, salary, etc., Shiro has been paid over the last few months, I wonder if we just looked at the amount of time he's actually in action. Not on the server, but just in action. I wonder what his hourly rate is. I would say it's ridiculous.
Definitely helps him pay for those AWPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this Gambit team have been just such a revelation.
Haven't they? It's insane. I'm glad they've got the big paychecks now, because for so long they were just playing these online tournaments over and over again, but now getting themselves some recognition, winning the big prize pools. And they're also young as well. It's incredible.
Nice work from Nafny. Gets a double kill onto the A-bomb site. Just the USPs here for Akuma, so any damage is kind of a bonus for them at this point. You can see Sensei already backing away, trying to bait them in. He wouldn't mind a kill here just to get that bit of extra money as the AWPer of the team. An extra 300 bucks, maybe even an 8K if Hobbit doesn't clear this, but, well, Sensei strays into the open and Hobbit denies, so not much going for Akuma here. It's going to be Gambit up to a 4th round win. And I think we were a little concerned for a second, but then Gambit reminded us that they are Gambit, and they've won 3 rounds in a row on their map pick. They're coming back into it now.
Even the best teams in the world can sometimes start a little slow. It just takes them a second to get the mind in the game sometimes, and It's the first game of the day. Akuma just started slightly stronger. I think they got away with a lot of gimmicks as well. You know, their boosts up. They were losing a lot of those early ramp fights, but it was the boost they were getting away with. Some multi-kills in towards the B site. But once those issues, they're very limited issues, you know, avoiding a boost is quite easy to counter in the next round. Dealing with some of the individual plays, maybe it's not giving them as easy of a setup the next time around. I think you can start to get away with a few better scenarios if you're Gambit. You just avoid those problems and their game plan starts to work. Now it's on Akuma, and this is what I was saying in the pregame. Now Akuma have to figure out, now they have to adapt. What else can they do to stop what Gambit have just done? What are they doing? It's hard to see where Akuma are making changes, and hopefully in this rifle round, there's something different coming in.
It is that adaptation that can be so hard to come up with, though. Yep. If you're having to come up with a mid-game especially, it's really difficult. Yeah, maybe Akuma have played enough Vertigo where, you know, they have been tested by some teams and they've had to switch things up in the past, but it's not a map they really play too often. And, oh, Nafany's getting away with it again, straight through the smoke. These ramp fights are really suffocating for the CTs right now.
And it was a bit of a variation. This time they walked down the ramp and tried to commit to the fight, put a little bit of pressure on that smoke, maybe try and get in behind them and cause a problem for Gambit. Nafany just gets the headshot, the good timing to go through the smoke. You often do that with his own utility. Nade in towards Sandbite, some Axel has resulted in a kill, and Nafany's already close up. Sensei's playing in towards Elevator. The A1X spots the Shadow, good headshot onto Nafany. At least one kill, but still a 4v3 for Gambit, with the utility just forcing the CTs further away. They might just consider the safe call, and Hobbit's even taking weapons out of play, even on that front. Oh, Psycho whiffs the bullets, and Hobbit will take another rifle out of play. It is just Sensei left alone, and Gambit are making these rounds clean now. I just want to get back to the point we were talking about beforehand. I think that is really what makes Gambit so successful, is the fact that you do have to adapt in the mid-game. You have to actually adapt once you're on the server. You can't really hard prep Gambit and hope to be successful, because there's so many avenues of the game that you go to, and you're just going to constantly have to be figuring out how you can get around it. And as soon as you come in with a game plan, it may work for a couple of rounds, but Gambit just figure it out quickly, and then once again, you're back to square one. And that's what coaches, analysts, etc. spend hours on the server to do. It's very difficult to do it in real time.
The other thing you have to consider when playing Gambit is, even if you solve step one, which is kind of stopping guys like Nafany and Axel getting a lot of their early round success, you still have Shiro to deal with, who oftentimes is so good in the late round scenarios. Yeah. Double peak not successful here, but yeah, like Shiro honestly hasn't been having to do much so far. Finally, he's got the first kill of this round, but he's just kind of been sitting in the back lines and saying, "Oh, good job, guys. You're doing well. I don't need to do anything."
And that really is true, right? Zero will only have to do something if the pressure's really on, if he's left in the clutch. That's when we get the highlight moments, and generally that'll happen against the top teams in the world. Gambit just have a player for every act of the story, the beginning, middle, and end, and often these kind of the start is just the part you need, really. You know, as long as you're getting these entries, Gambit know how to close out the round. You got to really force them to lose those early fights. You could have traded out. And honestly, Akuma were doing a pretty decent job at that in the first couple of rounds. We've seen them forcing Gambit out of their initial attack into A, back over to the B site. But in recent rounds, it has just been domination in the opening duels from Gambit, and no real chance for Akuma to get back into the round off of them. And they've got to figure that out going into the next one. I like that there was a bit more aggression in towards ramp in the previous gun round, but it just doesn't work because Nafany just pushes through his own smoke. I don't know if he's going to do that every round, though, so I think the ramp aggression could be interesting if Akuma pull it off properly.
Yeah, I think if you have 3 players pushed into ramp, or at least peeking it, you can hold the separate sides of the smoke, you can hold the opposite positions, and then maybe one of the players can sneak up close if you want. It's really hard to get away with that nowadays, though. I think T's are much better at flushing out the players who have pushed from the CT side. So if you go into that close corner, for example, oftentimes you will get mollied out of it.
Also,
And then pushing all the way down ramp is also just really hard to do.
yeah, it's also risky as well, because obviously they're getting away with so much with just Nafny at the bottom of the ramp. So that means there's players everywhere else. So if Nafny gets in for the 3 players that committed into ramp, you just have the rest of your teammates who can heavy hit into the B site and have a huge advantage there. So there's lots of problems you've got to figure out right now. And Akuma are taking a tactical timeout to discuss them.
Can definitely feel that they are struggling to solve this puzzle right now. You can't really blame them. I think most teams in the world are struggling to solve the puzzle that is Gambit right now. Would be nice to see Gambit continue to really prove themselves at this event, because we know that the LAN Counter-Strike might be coming back soon. I want to see Gambit going into that as their best, at their best selves, so that we can see how they do on LAN, because I think they should be able to keep it up. I think most people agree with how they play. They should be able to continue to be at least one of the best teams in the world, maybe the best team in the world. DemQQ finally countering Nafny early, and Jackie switches things up. He's got that AWP for B, and that's helped him make sure that he can resolve some of the pressure on this B side of the map.
He's going to start trying to cross back over the quad, and that utility is just so good. Shiro, this frag on Jackie. Cyclone's come in with a headshot on the M4A4. Shiro and Hobbit, AK-47s. Why Shiro's going to walk forward to get his kill back. Psycho was looking the wrong way, and Shiro moves forward, creating space, but he has more to do. Back on the top of his desk is another player. Shiro somehow gets the third, and that's going to open up an avenue out of the B site. He can run back and regroup with Hobbit, who is currently taking control and taking liberties on towards A. If you're the CTs, you're wondering, is there a flank coming in? Is Shiro coming over the backside? He's hearing the footsteps. Hobbit needed that kill, and without finding it, Shiro with so much more pressure now. He's got to figure out what is the right move in this clutch. We know Shiro can pull these kind of rounds off. We've seen it time and time again. It would have to be the IS, and it's on 12 HP.
He's picked the right spot, though. Sneaking through mid, he's got a chance to go to a wide open B site, or potentially a chance to flank A. But I think the B play is more likely. He knows it's more likely to be clear here. Not making any noise dropping down. He should have a free bomb plant, but it's still a really hard post plant to play with such low health. Oh, he wants the AWP.
He's going to be holding for it. We've seen him win these kind of clutches with the AWPs before. It fits like a glove in his hands. And Shiro holding for the crossover, trying to bid out the shot, trying to figure out where he is. Smoke into the site makes things more difficult, but Shiro hits the first shot. Back to the AK-47. Defuse starting to commit. He's run out of ammo, and the defuse is stuck in the smoke. Oh, Shiro made every right move. And in the end, it's a smoke into the middle of the site, and the defuse that comes in.
And that AWP, I think, drops like between the stairs. I don't even know what to call that, but it's annoying because Shiro can't save the AWP. I guess it's okay, though, because he's got $13,000. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, what a shame for Shiro. He did such a good job of using every tool available to him in this clutch, but unfortunately, that one AK almost baits him because it has such little ammo in it. If he had the full bullets, he can maybe commit up towards the stairs and take the fight properly and go for a spam through the smoke. He planted the bomb, interestingly, slightly more out in the open, which you feel like is going to make it more difficult for him to get the line up towards the bomb. And it did seem like those bullets were slightly off, but either way, great effort from Shiro. Unable to win it this time, though. Akuma come back with their 6th round win, and we're even here. A chance maybe for Akuma to come away with a couple more rounds at the end of the half and keep us competitive. You know, even though Gambit have been playing well, Akuma have kept the scoreline close.
Oh, DemQ's not too far off, but there's a little bit of cover onto the boost, and Shiro gets away with a kill. On top of the smoke, DemQQ down. And a man advantage for Gambit. found off the boost play. Sergey's just got aggressive down into ramp and fades away, and Hobbit still wins the fight. Even when they're in a position and given the prime opportunity, it is Gambit that are winning out these duels. And if you're Akuma, you really gotta hope for some magic now out of your star man. It's Sensei on the AWP. He peeks into the A site, and Axel is found on the other end of it. But they're going to throw some utility in. Sensei is now out of play. Zero's lit. Oh, but that is Psycho checking forward, aware of that possibility. And a headshot has just drawn this back into a 3v3. Better chance now, but Psycho has gone down in towards ramp. Shiro got the early information, could prime his teammates and be ready for that flank. And now a 2 versus 3. Gambit in the post flank, just letting the time tick on. And Akuma, more pressure on them. Obviously, money is not that good right now, so in the back of their head, they might even be considering the save, but they're still going forward. Gambit are throwing some utility onto the site, but with limited time, you've got to eventually get some kills here. In Gambit, they're not being forced to take fights, they were just waiting for the peaks. Akuma aren't really going to get too many of those. Finally, as they start to flee the site, Sensei gets his exit kill. But in the end, it will be a Gambit 7th round.
Getting those early kills at the start is just going to put them in such a good position to win the round. Even if Akuma make a couple of nice plays to try and come back into it, it's just so difficult to get back into it at that point. Gambit with a good job on those early fights. They continue to find those switch-ups over towards ramp, which we talked about as being so important for them. And it's been working out for them so far. They've got a 7-6 lead. Akuma still with a bye here into round 14, but if they were to lose this one, Gambit would have a really good chance to come away with 9 rounds at the half. And yet again, Nafany is already starting to get into the midst of those smokes, trying to see what he can find.
Oh, they've come close to a lot of spams here, Akuma. So the rounds hasn't really been working for them, and there goes Nafany through the smoke again. So often what he does early in the rounds on the A site. Once again, it is Akuma who have lost that player. And it's hard to be able to trade out that kind of kill. She's not really expecting it to come in. There's not really a setup in place to deal with that. So Nafany just walks through the smoke, gets a kill, and then evaporates. Just disappears completely. No one even knows where he is. And now the play from Jackie. Tried to get aggressive to take some map control back, but Axel was ready for it. Gets the kill, not without taking significant damage, but as long as they have the 2-man advantage, Nafany is going to try and go for the smoke play again. He's going to hide in the top round smoke, starts to fade away, and Nafany faces the smoke, gets the kill. Damn QQ out of play, and now Psycho and Sensei, what can they really hope to pull off here? Every single part of the map is being watched by a Gambit player. No matter where they go, they're just getting picked off.
Finally, Sensei's AWP strikes, but it's come way too late. This round was a bit of a shame for Akuma. I think they were maybe slightly unfortunate with Sergiz trying to spam the smoke, because you heard at the end there, he was literally just tapping bullets onto different positions to see if he could hit Nafany with one of those shots. But once he didn't hit anyone, he assumed he was safe. These are some decent shots from Sensei. They might keep him safe to save his AWP. But it's all just consolation prize right now. Saving the AWP is the best he can do going into round 15. And even that isn't guaranteed, because he's going up the ladder in towards Interz's position. Gambit have nothing to lose. They might as well go fully hunting here, but Interz has not decided to do so. So Sensei gets a couple of kills, but they are pretty irrelevant in the overall outcome of the round.
If you're just tuning in, you're probably wondering, wow, close scoreline from Akuma. But the majority of these rounds came at the very, very beginning, where they went on a hot streak, and Gambit came into play in the gun rounds and pulled it back. It's been relatively one-sided over the last few rounds, indeed. And I think Akuma's scoreline is a little bit of a buff from their start. But rounds are rounds. Gives them a chance in the second half as well, just posting this many in the first. Starting to bombard to the bottom of the ramp. Nafany again, chooses the right play. He just stays back out of harm's reach from those injuries and is so ready to clear out the bottom of the smoke as well. I really do feel bad for Akuma. They're really trying their best to figure out how do we deal with the Nafany problem. And every time they think they've got an answer, Nafany has the reply before it's even come through.
It's so impressive how, yeah, like you're saying, every time Nafany has just got ahead of the game, basically. It's unreal that he's so good in that position. He's so good in A ramp on both sides of the map. You're going to see it on CT side too. Don't you worry, folks. Keep yourself strapped in because Nafany's going to keep on playing like this. Nice shot from Sensei, switching up his positioning with the AWP, taking a proactive fight. He saved this into the last round of the half, and his teammates don't have a great buy. So it is up to Sensei to try and force some fights. And the time is ticking here, 37 seconds, and Sergis finds the lineup. Finally, Akuma finding some success towards A ramp.
Oh, Hobbit looked up towards the top, and Sergej peeks out with a 3K. It's just Inter's left. Starting to run with the AK, utility bombarding him. And that's the kind of round that they desperately need. It gives him an extra round to play with out of this first half. It's 7. Now Inter's run through the smoke, gets caught on the fallback, and the headshot from Jackie is secured. Individual skill displayed in the final round, but you can see on the board there just how many of these rounds were picked up early on for Akuma. Gambit went on a bit of a streak. Defuse round coming through, and that was the attempted Shiro clutch. It could have happened as well, so I think Akuma will be happy about this first half.
Yeah, the scoreline is all you can really ask for here. Coming into your opponent's map pick, you've done enough to keep it close. Now we've got to see what they can do on their T side of Vertigo. It's not a map that Akuma play too often, but the times they have played it, they have performed a bit better on their T halves. They've got to do that again here. Axel solo holding this B site. He spotted them early, but he could be in trouble.
Well, he's going to sit back with a USP. So many angles to try and fight for a good flash over the top from Nafany, but it has not worked in Axel's favor. Instead, a headshot for Jackie. And the bomb plant starts to come in. Another kill for Jackie in this pistol. But for Akuma, they can somewhat get comfortable now. As Gambit have got to figure out how they pull off a retake, how they even take control back, and Sergej gets aggressive. The clock comes in for the 3K. That's a beautiful pistol out of him, and one that Akuma need to get started here in this second half.
Well, that's the way that they want to be winning this one, Dinko. They got off to that hot start in the first half you talked about. Part of that comes from winning that pistol and getting an early 5-1 lead. A lot of those early rounds were pretty competitive for what it's worth. Gambit kept the pressure on. A lot of them had to come down to post-plant scenarios. And Gambit will be hoping this time they can try and just completely deny Akuma in this round, but Akuma have a lot of rifles to work with. You can already see Nafany getting away with his CT aggression on towards ramp, something that Akuma could basically never get away with.
And it's the great understanding of how he plays the T side that allows him to be so good on the CT side. He knows the counter to himself, and Axel and Hobbit, they're getting kills on the D-goals. Oh, that's disgusting. 3 beautiful shots. And they shut down the play straight in from the construction position. And because of that, the B split is now weak. And Axel is tearing them to shreds. Hits the shot onto the 4th as well, but Nafany hits the final blow. Gambit just crushed them. They tried to come over the top of construction, but it's like going over the top in World War I.
I love this spot from Axel too. Crouching below initially, then he kind of tucks into this close right angle because he knows that they have to be funneled through that choke point. It's actually a really strong spot to play with the Deeg when you can just spam away, go for body shots. He got a headshot in there too, though. Got to give him credit for that second shot, which was so well taken. And that might really take the wind out of Akuma's sails here. If they lose this round, they're going to start to fall behind in terms of rounds, in terms of economy. It's a classic Gambit round. When they need it around the most, they come through with it. Although Shiro has taken some early damage here, so can't get ahead of ourselves just yet.
The damage done and received from both players. Sheer up on 13, but damage has been inflicted on 3 of the players of Akuma.
Pretty cool that Gambit switched the AK away from Shiro when he's low on health, actually.
Yeah, you don't want to be having that rifle in his hands. Obviously, one bullet is enough to get rid of it. Or if you put over a Nafny's hands, it's got the utility, it's got the Kevlar and the health. So definitely worthwhile making that switch over.
I love this angle.
It's dirty, isn't it? It's real dirty, but it's dirtier from Psycho. Actually works against Hobbit there, playing with the pipe. Couldn't actually see on the other side of it. Another walk up into the site from Akuma. They've got this opening kill. The bomb plant would be fantastic for them, and they will get that. Molotov's not going to land in time to deny, and they find a follow-up headshot. Nafany's come in with the AK, making it sing for now. But a 3v4 right now for Akuma is more than they could have ever asked for. And Gambit need to try and turn the tides of this one. Nafany walks into the site, spots the Eagle. He'll take that free upgrade and now gets onto the bomb, sticking it with his head down. They're not hitting the shots, not taking him out of play. They're even trying to get him through the smoke, and the knife kill comes in, but it's just too late. A second after the defuse was confirmed. And I like that from Nafany, but it's heartbreaking for Akuma.
Yeah, I love it from Nafany. You know they've got Deegs, you know they've got pistols, you know they're going to struggle to spam into that smoke. They had to just try and run at him with the knife. And, well, they get the knife kill, but they get it too late. The rest of Gambit can delay with the fights in the meantime. Honestly, they weren't even delaying that much with the fights they were taking, though. Akuma was still just focusing on that man defusing, and still Nafany's able to get away with it. Important that Gambit hold on there, but they're still under pressure. Another force spike coming from Akuma.
Sensei. Up in the top ramp. Oh, Molotov going to make things difficult, forces him away, and Nafany again, he's going to be a real thorn in their side. I think for the rest of this map has been and will continue to be. Clearing out sandbags, Hobbit throws the smoke out to the left side. Allows him to maintain his position and continue to be a problem, but Nafany's going to try and help his teammate out with some aggression here. He gets forward. Good headshot from DemQQ, and Reply gets away with a second. But it's Nafany again who's keeping it even right now. Gambit still with a shot, and look at that icon. Nafany's unlucky to get away. Not get away with that one, should I say. Psycho able to somehow pull out his AK in time and get the kill back, but that was ripe for a 3K.
Yeah, I can't complain about the positioning. Just misses a couple of the early shots, gives his opponents a chance to fight back, and now Gambit have to come through in another late round scenario. Shiro is in a great position though, but he misses the first opportunity. Now he's got to see if he can find safe passage back towards the site, but his teammate's been dealt with, and it's all on Shiro. He's got to go for a fight. He's got to get proactive, but he just can't land any of these shots, and he'll be ganged up on by the remaining Akuma players. They fought hard with all these force spies, and finally, it pays off for Akuma. Their 9th round on the board, and now it's Gambit's turn to have to go down to one of these weaker buys. And this is exactly what Akuma want, Dinko. They want to turn this into an absolute scrap, and it is a very close game right now.
Exactly. What is going to beat you about Gambit, right, is their play style, is how they're going to approach these rounds. If you can take that utility, those rifles away from them, it brings it down into a level playing field where the individuals become much more important. And Akuma have got individuals, so this could definitely turn into a real scrappy affair. When you speak of individuals on the server, it's hard not to talk about Shiro, and he gets the opening.
Dropping the opposing AWPer too. We always talk about Sensei being such an important piece of this team, but he's out of there early. And with that man advantage, Gambit mostly fall back, but Nafany sticks around, and he's been caught off guard by Akuma's re-aggression.
And that's what Akuma needs to do. Just getting into those situations, getting those replies back. And now they're going to group up. Going to try and close out the round together with a strength in numbers mentality. They have one player they've got to deal with on the close position of Axel. Let's see if the Deagle's good enough. He's had some dirty shots before, but it's missed shots here. Dishes out damage to one, but no kill. And Akuma now have the site. Shiro holds for the extension, the overextension, you could say, the bomb carrier. And Shiro is going to find it. There's going to be inserts close by. Body shot is all that's needed, but the timing on looking away is not good enough. But Shiro! Just no, that's not allowed. No scope through the smoke, and Hobbit finding the player at the top of the stairs. It's all onto Sergey's. And Shiro has found some magic in the round. The no scope through the smoke. And Sergey's has spotted the AWPer. He wants the kill, and Shiro is denying him everything. The 4K from Shiro. And when it comes down to the individuals, Shiro can do that.
My God. We haven't really had the highlight play from him all game. He was searching for it earlier in some of the previous rounds. And finally, the Shiro we know and love comes through in such an important round for Gambit. I don't know how the hell he hits that no-scope. I don't even know what he's trying to do with that no-scope, but apparently he knows better than me. Even that first kill, tight angle. Second one, another tight angle. Oh my God.
It's so stupid.
And even the way he plays that at the end there, just jiggle peeking up and down. That's not an easy shot either.
Yeah, he was also buying time for Hobbit to get closer, and in the end, Shiro just sees his opportunity and gets the kill out of it. Don't peek that angle again. No, don't do it. Shiro's gonna kill you. Easy again. Shiro's is back to back, same position, same start to the round.
It's Shiro time. It's the opposite of James time, Dinko. He's fighting everyone right now. And Axel's going to go ahead and see if he can find some fights of his own. Molly down onto the stairs will keep himself safe. Akuma did get onto the B site in the previous round, but that was against just the Deeg of Axel. And this time there are 2 CTs in position. Nafany's even pushed up close towards ramp, and I don't know if DemQQ's aware of it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter because he's taking damage, and Nafany is ready alongside Shiro. The crossfire is deadly.
Oh, flash is good though, and that does isolate Nafany because they force Shiro out of the angle. He's not going to re-peek. He's not going to try and make up for that. He's going to drop back and play with his teammate. 100% the right call there from Shiro. And Hobbit is going to hang around on the A site with him. After all that hard work is done, Axel's flank has not been able to close it out. And in fact, that opens up a bit of a window for Akuma to go elsewhere. But with 19 seconds left, they have got to be so quick. And so they're going to leave Psycho near the site, hoping that with the little bit of time, Sensei would have been able to pull something off. But with 8 seconds now, Psycho walks into the site and Shiro's holding for it. I kind of get the idea there for Akuma, but there's not many options available to you with such limited time and when you've been dealt such a deadly first hand.
Finally, we should get to a position where a low buy is forced out of Akuma.
So quick.
It's a nice setup there. You just have Nafany up close, and Shiro, yeah, he's really quick on those peaks, so he can go ahead and help out very quickly.
Nafany back with the SMG. Sensei has not had the best of times into his bottom ramp on this T side. And he thinks better of maybe challenging Nafany now. He runs back to regather with his teammates. And Shiro, once the information is passed on to him that Nafany has taken ramp control, Shiro is going to actually leave himself open again by taking that tight angle. Luckily, Nafany had got over to the other side. The MP9 is able to take the kill. Once again, it's the Nafany and Shiro shut down here on the ramp. I think there needs to be a little bit of a hazard sign, a hazard warning when you approach the ramp room. Shiro and Nafany are here to shut you all down. And when Nafany falls, Hobbit is quick to reply. And Shiro with another 3K. 13-9 for Gambit. Really taking these rounds in their stride now at this point. And for Akuma, here comes the buy. It hasn't all been negatives for Akuma. I've been impressed by a couple of the rounds that have come through. So I really do hope they can figure something out here in this gun round. They need to deal with the issue of ramp. If they're going to go over there, that is an easier issue to solve when said than actually pulling it off.
Smoke down from Gambit, as you're always going to see from the CTs. And we can start to hold some of these angles. The boost on the other side. has taken some damage. You can see Nafany just aware of all the options. He himself did that boost earlier over on the T side, so he's going to spam for it. He's going to force them away. Meanwhile, over on B, Jackie's in a pretty good position here. He could just call for one flash and try and see if he can go.
Oh, he gets out. It's going to be Axel. Blinded and still taking the kill on the B side attack. Still trying to come in here for Akuma. And they have been able to get that trade onto Axel. He's just good for one. So the utility for the retake is starting to set up. It's going to be Shiro throwing the Incendiary in to clear out the site itself, to limit the positions of the Akuma players. Psycho is the only one that's really playing in the more advanced spot. The rest of them have dropped back and will be playing passive post plants. Nafany's arrived over here as well. Eventually the smokes that the T's initially threw will begin to dissipate. And that opens up the retake attempt for Gambit as they start to come on in. It's a missed smoke into that retake, and now Psycho, he gets overrun. Not before getting a kill, though. And with this time starting to tick, Akuma still have enough players left to make this doable. In fact, it's looking very good for them, especially with Inter shooting his own teammate, but right through the smoke, gets the kill, and just down to DemQQ, but the time is also far gone. And Gambit, they throw the AWP away just before the bomb blows it in the other direction. It's no round for them. But it's Akuma with that quick B hit that is beautiful to watch.
Yeah, Intaz was the man with the smoke and the kit, but he just assumed the bomb was planted on the default spot. He didn't actually check to see where it was planted, and it was planted slightly more out in the open. That's actually a pretty nice plant spot for Akuma too, because it's just that little bit easier for that player that's close to watch towards that bomb without getting peeked from separate angles. And then in the midst of the chaos, not only does Inters not put the smoke onto the bomb, but he also gets the team kill. So not the best round for him, sadly, but at least Gambit still have money for the buy. This is a round that Akuma really need, though. They need to break this bank of Gambit. It's an important round here, and Hobbit could be caught out early. Fantastic flashbang, and Nafany can't help his teammate because he's stuck behind the smoke.
So Akuma take the right first step into round 24, and it's winning that ramp fight that has been so difficult for them. A great start, and now they turn back to B. And B has been a little more friendly. Axel's committed to the site this time. Can he get away with more than one? Been good at treading him out. He's going to try and play with his own utility. Oh, that is well done by Axel. It's allowed time for Shiro to get over as well. Shiro started the round in middle this time, and that allows for the quick rotation over to the B site, and it doesn't even need to really come through because Axel is just killing everybody now. Just DemQQ left alone. He's low HP. But utility starting to come in, the hit cheese as well. He's got to get out of that. DemQQ has been forced out of the B stars. Flashes just keep bombarding DemQQ. Do not envy his position right now. Eventually will climb the stairs, and at the top, he doesn't see anything. Gambit have gone and disappeared.
And not giving him the fight means that Gambit have the round guaranteed. Nothing that DemQQ can do about it. Low on health, running into crossfires. It's not going to happen for him. 14-10 Gambit. Starting to run away with things slightly now. It may only be a 4-round lead, but this late in the game, that is a big deal. And as you pointed out, so good at playing around this B site, finding all those. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Where is this?
It's up on top of the ramp, in behind what used to be the wooden wall, but is now metal. It hangs there. I think some TOs have actually been using it to be a sponsor banner, which is kind of cool. The trap, built on trust. I wouldn't trust this company to build my construction site. Holy crap, it was turned into a skirmish between terrorists and counter-terrorists. Terrible idea. And they haven't fixed it. It just keeps going on. It's been over 2 years now at this point.
It still looks like it's pretty well constructed, though.
I mean, the building, but there hasn't been really any progression since the last change we've seen. So, yeah, a bit slow on building it.
I will get back into the action with Akuma having a pretty hard time of things here. They have the one saved AK, but everyone else is forced up onto weaker weapons. And Shiro has been so solid in this position. These are very tight angles, but he still wants to see if he can find one over the top of the smoke. Nafany continuing his work with the spam. The nades not going to do too much. So Akuma have dodged the early damage. They're going to go for the fights, but Shiro's here.
Yeah, Shiro's over here. And for Akuma, that means, oh dear, oh, it's Shiro. And he goes again, a 3K. Everybody falling, finally overrun by the P250 of Psycho. But Nafany, his trusty companion, looking to take them out. Revenge is found, it's 2 kills. And secured AWP for the next round as well. Map point for Gambit on their map pick. No drugs or alcohol on that construction site, or music. Sounds like a horrible place.
It's probably for the safety of everyone involved, Inca. I mean, these players are sober and sometimes they fall off the map, so... It's a dangerous place.
At least that's as far as you know.
Well, true. Yeah, this has been a decent effort from Akuma, but it just feels like Gambit have taken over when they've had to here. Their players are showing up in such an impressive fashion right now. Sensei's trying to see if he can force some fights. It's his teammate Sturgis who gets the opener, though. Maybe Akuma aren't done yet.
Some utility coming in towards Sandbags. It's going to try and force out Hobbit, and, well, careful what you wish for, because Hobbit does come out of his Hobbit hole, and generally when Hobbits are forced out of the comfortable abode at which they live, they're not so happy. Oh, balance boarded. Easy kill for Shiro. Damn, QQ out of there. And a 4 versus 3 with Gambit looking to try and close things out here on Vertigo. Just 3 kills between them and that victory. And with only 2 rifles in play, not a whole lot of utility, but they do have 2 smokes. Here come the kills though for Gambit. Just Sergey's now left alive. He'll start his walk out through short. Just hoping someone from Gambit is aggressive and gives them a fight, and that's actually the bottom right ramp peak that's opened things up. Axel's gone down, and Sergey's 23 HP. Could sprint to the B site, but he has to be quick. There's only 30 seconds left, so just trying to gauge whether or not Shiro is rotating over. And Sergey's walks over the metal, not to give away the sound cue, and eventually will have to run up into this B site now. 20 seconds.
Gambit will start to figure this out soon, too. With 10 seconds left, you've got to think they'll realize it's not the A play, but it looks like they want to stick together. Finally, the commit comes into B. The bomb will be planted, but Shiro gets him straight through the smoke. No bomb plant allowed. And Shiro had such a slow start to this game, but he still ends with 28 kills, Dinko. That's how good this guy is.
It's insane, and even towards the end, you're not even getting a bomb plant out of it. You're just getting taken out of play through the smoke. Hit some ridiculous no-scopes onto that B side as well. It's been a pleasure to watch Gambit on the first map, but I'm pretty impressed by Akuma. I thought it was actually going to be more one-sided. I thought we were going to see 16-8, 16-9 scoreline, but 16-10 is not too bad, and they did actually have a decent first half, a few rounds here and there, but it's to be expected. You're playing against Gambit on Vertigo. It's not easy for any team in the world.
No, not an easy matchup to go into. Even Inferno is going to be really tricky. We know that Gambit are really good on that map too. So no easy maps here for Akuma, but at least they showed us they can be somewhat competitive.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing if they can continue to be competitive as we hop into our next map. That's going to be coming up after the break. We'll see if Inferno is any better for Akuma, or will it be Gambit that closes it in 2?
Да вполне нормально все, группа довольно-таки неплохая. Ну, я всегда придерживаюсь мнения, что если достойно выиграть турнир, то нужно обыгрывать все команды. Да, у нас группа такая сильненькая довольно-таки. Вот, поэтому, конечно, не знаю, все хорошо, будем пытаться выигрывать всех. Вот. Из соперников из группы сложнее всего, наверное, будет с Нави. Мне это кажется, у нас всегда с ними такие близкие матчи, и, в общем, они хорошо очень индивидуально играют, и поэтому иногда бывает сложно. Про Нави мы больше, наверное, знаем информации, поскольку они все время на виду и играют очень часто матчи. Ну, с ними мы не часто играем, в основном это на РМРах, там, минорах, в основном вот так вот. Ну, да, в целом не очень часто мы с ними встречаемся. Ну, Нави хороший претендент, им важно выигрывать, опять же. Ну, мы рассчитываем, опять же, на то, что мы будем на призовом месте, потому что нам сейчас очень важно сыграть очень хорошо этот турнир, так как RMR-поинты для нас очень важны, чтобы попасть на мажор. Вот. Ну и, конечно, быть там в первых местах тоже важно, так как, по-моему, первые 2 или первые 3, я уже точно не помню, место дают ну, слот в легенды, а это меньше сил, потраченных во время других стадий и, конечно, преимущество над другими соперниками. Ну, из нашей группы, наверное, бы пусть будет Гамбит, Нави, Немига, Форза, Акума, а из второй пусть будет Virtus.pro, Spirit, Entropic, К-23 и Stopping Gods. Как говорится, во время матча поймем, кто сильнее.